On the news, Nigeria gets permission to appeal $9.6 billion assets for future order. Osinbajo rejects corruption claims, says ready to be investigated. France mourns death of former President Jacques Chirac. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Philip. The enforcement of a UK court order granting Process and Industrial Development Limited, PNID, permission to seize $9.6 billion in Nigerian assets can now be appealed. A British court gave the order on Thursday while ruling on application filed by the Nigerian government. The PNID secured the damages against Nigeria following a failed gas supply project agreement GSPA contract between it and the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources. After a failed attempt to reach an out-of-court settlement with the company, the Nigerian government decided to file an application for leave to appeal against the award and its enforcement. It also asked for a stay of execution of the arbitral award, but the court is yet to rule on the second request. Abubakar Malami, Attorney General of the Federation, and Godwin Emefiele, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, on Sunday led a delegation of senior government officials to the UK to challenge the court order after two PNID representatives pleaded guilty to fraud and tax evasion before a Nigerian court. Over $157 billion was illegally stolen from Nigeria and stashed abroad from 2003 to 2012. President Muhammadu Buhari said this while speaking on the sidelines of the ongoing 74th United Nations General Assembly in New York. The Nigerian leader is now demanding the unconditional repatriation of assets stolen from the African continent. He said although his administration had recovered millions of dollars stolen from Nigeria in the last 5 years, a lot more was still stuck in foreign bank accounts. According to Buhari, a combination of international laws, different jurisdictions, and justice systems makes it deliberately difficult for repatriation. President Buhari has now sought international cooperation and coordination to ensure stolen funds stashed abroad are returned. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says he's ready to waive his constitutional immunity to be investigated. Osinbajo said this while reacting to allegations of financial misconduct levied against him. The vice president also announced that he's taking legal actions against two individuals identified to be behind the false report. He listed them as Timmy Frank and Kat Onoju. Frank, a former spokesperson for the All Progressives Congress, had alleged that the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, made 90 billion naira available to the vice president for election campaign, an allegation the tax agency has since denied. Nigeria returning to the January-December budget cycle seems to be on course as the Senate begins scrutinizing the 2020 to 2022 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. Senate's Committee on Finance has been given 1 week to review the documents and report to the House. Senate President Ahmed Lawan gave the charge during plenary today after Abdullahi Yahaya, leader of the Senate, implored lawmakers to quickly review the documents as requested by the president.
We had indicated that we want to change the budget cycle in Nigeria. We want the budget to be operative from January. And the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, have been hammering on the fact that we want the executive to present the budget on time so that we can pass it before December and they can just hit January 2nd implementing the budget. And I believe that is in the works. From all indications, the budget will be laid before the National Assembly at most in the second week of October. And if that is done by the grace of Almighty God, before we go on recess in December, the budget would have been passed. And so by January, the budget implementation will commence immediately. And I believe this will help the economy of Nigeria tremendously. Because the problem has always been that we will pass a budget and there will be no room for implementation.
And now to security matters. The Nigerian Air Force says it has destroyed a major Islamic State of West Africa Province logistics base and training camp at Kusuma on the fringes of Lake Chad in Borno State. The force spokesperson, Air Commodore Ibikune Darmola, announced this in a statement on Thursday. He says the operation was executed on Wednesday by the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole. According to Darmola, several insurgents were also killed in the airstrike. The Army's claims has, however, been rejected by the terrorist sect, which claims to have killed 14 soldiers in a face-off with troops in Borno State on Wednesday. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has stressed the need to sustain investment research and development on military hardware to reduce overdependence on importation and logistics in general. The Army Chief made the demand at the maiden Nigerian Army Day at the 2019 Abuja International Trade Fair. Buratai says the Nigerian Army understands the place of research and development, and that's why it relies on locally sourced military capabilities. He added that investing in local production of military hardware would reduce the importation of defense logistics and the sustenance of local capacity for production.
For too long, we have depended on other countries to meet our basic needs. We can no longer do so. Nigeria is destined to be a great nation, and our President Muhammadu Buhari, is committed to help lay the solid foundation for the greatness of our nation. And one way we can achieve this is to attain self-reliance. And one area that self-reliance is critical is in national security. We have seen the problems that confronted us as a nation when the insurgency in the Northeast was at its peak, and we needed to buy weapons for our armed forces. We saw the problems that we had to pass through.
Some of these products include the mine resistance ambush protected, the light tactical armored vehicle, the infantry patrol vehicle, the mobile borehole drilling machine, the fuel-less generator, the mine roller, and tractor. I am delighted to unequivocally state that all these products were fabricated by Nigerians without foreign technical partners. This, I say, lays a solid foundation for future consolidation on local production of military hardware. Similarly, it will reduce the intractable overdependence on importation of defense logistics.
The Nigerian police force has uncovered 9 corpses hid in hidden graves in Gbase Village, Benue State. Police Public Relations Officer Catherine Anene says the uncovered bodies are suspected to have been victims of criminal attacks in Songo local government area of Benue State. She said one suspect has been arrested following a tip-off by members of the community. He has been identified as a gang leader of a kidnap and armed robbery syndicate that allegedly kills their victims and buries them after collecting their motorcycles in order to conceal their crime and avoid arrest. Anina says the suspect is being interrogated and that more information will be made public in due course. Now, the Nigerian Senate has decried the deteriorating state of insecurity across states in Nigeria. Speaking during plenary on Thursday, Senator Abdullahi Kabir raised alarm on the rates of kidnapping and banditry in 6 local areas in Katsina State. He says the state government is willing to grant the criminals amnesty if they agree to stop their activities, but said military action will not be ruled out if they refuse dialogue.
The state government is trying their best because you know the stages. Maybe this one just could be a first stage. If of course it worked, good and fine. And I was with the government when we went inside. If you see the conditions they gave us, that we should come to inside the bush, inside the forest, 50 kilometers off the road. In fact, just in the bush. We have to send an advance party to even cut the trees to go and meet this banditry inside the forest. So hopefully that this one will work. But of course, if it didn't work, as the governor used to say, it's fire for fire. Right-hand side, he said peace. And if this peace, we refuse to achieve it, then we go for the war. This is what we told them. So, but unfortunately, yes, of course, they will tell you yes. I could call, after that meeting with them, some of the kidnapped people were released. But again, unfortunately, the following week, again, they came inside some of the local government headquarters and picked some people. So you could see what is happening. The governor is trying his best to make sure that, of course, at least let's follow them maybe through the amnesty if it will work. But definitely if it doesn't work, we have to take them seriously.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has called on the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, to revive the implementation of its support to Democratic Empowerment Phase 1 project in Nigeria. The chairman of the commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, made the request in Abuja while receiving the new UNDP resident representative to Nigeria, Mohammed Yahaya. Yakubu says the existing partnership between INEC and the United Nations is of immense value and remains a vital ingredient in promoting democracy and good governance.
There is one pending issue that we need to resuscitate immediately in the implementation, which is the implementation of the support to democratic empowerment, the SDE Phase 1. Implementation should have commenced in May 2018 through to December 2019. The plan was not fully implemented for a number of reasons, but essentially the pressure on time on the Commission because of our general elections, as well as the issue of funding. I'm glad to note that the plan is being revised by our technical teams, and I look forward to the work of the two teams.
The Election Commission has been a key partner for the work we do in deepening democracy and delivering the voices of those who have voted in a way that is credible and transparent. So the work that you do, commissioners and chairperson, is critical for democratization to take root in this country and across the continent. So for me, coming here and meeting you has been one of the key aspects of my duty here.
African countries have joined the rest of the world in staging a protest against the 60-year-old economic blockade on Cuba by the United States. Over 500 delegates from around the world were on hand for the protest march originally scheduled for the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, but later held at the Popular Unity Fountain in Abuja. They're calling on the international community to prevail on the United States to lift the embargo on Cuba, which prevents the country from freely doing business.
As much as possible, while we are fighting against economic blockade, Africans must also do something to help Cuban people. And one of the first things we have suggested is that within the context of the new African Continental Trade Agreement, there should be special status for Cuba, so that Cuba can trade freely with Africa and Africa can trade freely with Cuba. And with that one, we can break the backbone of economic blockade by America. Africa has close to 1 billion people, so if we can trade with Cuba, that is even far more effective with America, which is just about 350 million people.
One of the things people ask why somebody from the United States would come all the way to Africa to participate in a conference around Cuba. The reason why is because it's in the interest of the world's working class. It's in the interest of the working class in the United States. The propaganda you get from the United States is all lies. The United States is a class-divided country. This is one of the most important things that I want to explain. It is made up of workers and farmers and immigrants, people who are just like the people of Nigeria, people who are just like the people in the rest of the world. That is why the Cuban Revolution is an inspiration to us, and we seek to explain it. That is why the United States does everything within its capability to keep the people of the United States, as well as the people of the world, from learning about Cuba. That is why they do things like preventing us or spreading lies about this demonstration to keep us from demonstrating at the U.S. Embassy, where we should be to protest the inhuman policies of the United States government.
You're still watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Still to come, news in business and more. Do stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Cut. All right. What's your name again? Kemi?
Yes, sir.
Good. Are you ready for us for next week?
Yes, sir.
Next.
No, sir. No.
What? Look, what we need here is one who can speak fluent English. Give her a chance.
I need a angel to hold me. Hold me, my beautiful angel.
Cut! It is Angel, not Angel. Please, I'm done with you. Excuse us. Kemi was far better.
It's not about our rendition. It's not about our performance here. By the time she and her friends join us in our hotel rooms, you will know how far.
Can I have her phone?
She has a robust profile.
Real robust profile. I do not undercut professional ethics. It is an act of corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
You're welcome back, and here's Onyi Adekele with details of the 2020 budget.
Thank you very much, Annetta. The federal government has proposed 9.12 trillion naira as the 2020 budget estimate, with deficit of about 2.28 trillion naira. The budget was contained in the 2020 to 2022 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper President Muhammadu Buhari sent to the National Assembly on Wednesday. Projected 7.17 trillion naira as estimated revenue Nigeria is expecting from value-added tax and other revenues expected to fund the 2020 national budget. According to the document, the expected revenue projection is 170.41 billion naira higher than that of 2019, with 6.99 trillion naira. The Federal Executive Council has approved the construction of Ibadan-Ile-Ife dual carriageway at the cost of 79.82 billion naira. This was reviewed by the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in Abuja. The dual carriageway is connected to Oyo and Osun states. In the same vein, the Council equally approved the link road which connects the second Niger Bridge to Asaba and Onitsha and the Kano-Katsina Highway.
They were approved for, one, the construction of the Ibadan-Ilesha-Ife dual carriageway that connects Oyo and Osun State for 79.829 billion. And secondly, for the link roads that connects the second Niger Bridge to Asaba and Onitsha. The Asaba link road was awarded to Mrs. Julius Berger, and the Onitsha link road was awarded to Mrs. Reynolds Construction. Total construction cost of this link roads is 200.176 billion naira. The third approval was for phase 2 of the Kano-Katsina Highway from the point known as Gida Mutum Daya all the way to where the Katsina Steel Rolling Mill is. This is a 78-kilometer stretch approved at the sum of 29.654 billion naira.
The managing director of Heritage Bank, Ifie Sekibo, says the greatest hindrance to boosting access to credit, especially for small and medium enterprises in Nigeria, is poor identity management. Represented by Divisional Head Strategy and Business Solutions, Segun Akonji, Sekibo says that the lack of effective and standard identity management infrastructure makes access to credit for the SMEs in Nigeria tough, as banks only see unmitigated risk. Speaking on revenue growth, the tax leader of PwC Nigeria, Taiwo Oyedele, says that Nigeria has one of the highest company income tax rates globally, which is a disincentive for business growth. Both men were speaking at the Finance Correspondents Association of Nigeria, PICAN, annual conference in Lagos.
Tax people are entering your offices. Somebody hasn't paid salaries, and you say taxes are growing. When other economies, they are cutting taxes to improve production and strengthen consumer power. So we need to talk about this tax thing has to be redirected. It is not a performance thing for the people to collect taxes and fill the government pocket. It is useless. It is useless when you are saying we earn 5.9 trillion, 5.7 trillion in taxes, when people are getting poorer and poorer and poorer and poorer and poorer by the day. So where are these taxes coming from?
The people at the bottom of the ladder, if you throw them up, it is blood that will come out. You cannot give what you don't have. In societies where they think about it logically, they focus on the top 1%. I found out that the top 1% in the US pays more taxes than the bottom 90%. In the UK, the top 1% pays more than the bottom 75%. In South Africa, the top 1% pays more than the bottom 99%. But in Nigeria, who are the people paying the taxes? The bottom 10-20%. And we say the tax to GDP ratio is small. Why would it not be small? So government needs to think about the tax system as something that facilitates business so that later on we can make money from them, not taxing investment and production.
We'll be taking a look at activities on the stock market after this break. Please don't go away. The NSE finally got a respite from its losing streak today as the market encountered its first major break for the week after 3 straight days of decline. The all-share index rose by 1.09%, while the market capitalization increased as well to 13.425 trillion naira. And just a look at the market summary and you get an idea of activity level and performance in the market today. Yesterday, over 450 million shares were traded, but today that figure dropped by more than half, coming in at 183.465 million. Also, the value of trade went from 7.9 billion naira realized yesterday and summed up to just about 2.9 billion naira at the close of trading today, and that's a decline of roughly 5 billion naira. Regardless, the market closed on a positive note. And the market drivers today are Nestle, recording gains of 121 naira and 50 kobo. And we see coming in next is Seplat. And of course, we have Total, and that's Total and Access, all 4 equities making gains of 36.94%. And of course, on the flip side, we have Forte Oil and Guarantee Trust Bank. And when we move on, we see that also on the table of 4, we have Custodian and Dangote Flour making most losses of 122 naira combined. When we move on to global stocks, FTSE, Dow Jones and Nikkei. Dow Jones is sliding into decline, whereas we see FTSE and Nikkei both recording gains. FTSE 0.84% rise, and of course Nikkei made a gain of 0.13% in all-share index. So that's it for from this side. It's back to you, Aneta.
Thanks for that update, Oyi. Moving on, former French President Chirac has died at age 86. He passed away and his death was announced by his son-in-law, who said he died peacefully on Thursday morning without specifying the cause of his death. He earned the nickname Le Bulldozer early in his career due to his drive and ambition. Chirac served 2 terms as president and twice as Prime Minister and took France into the single European currency. Tributes have been pouring in for the late ex-president, who has been described by many as a great statesman. Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has pleaded with the United States and Europe to remove economic sanctions on his country. Mnangagwa made the appeal while addressing the 74th UN General Assembly in New York. He noted that the embargo, which was imposed almost 2 decades ago over alleged rights abuses, was holding back the economic development of the country. The sanctions, which include trade restrictions and withdrawal of bilateral and multilateral financial support, are estimated to have cost the country nearly $100 billion. Mnangagwa told the UN that his government is making progress in the effort to pull his country out of an economic collapse in spite of numerous challenges. In sports, Nigeria's home-based Eagles have arrived to Dakar, Senegal, for the second Waffle Fox Cup of Nations. A team of 21 players and 6 officials are representing Nigeria in the tournament, set to begin on the 28th of September. In other news, Super Eagles coach Kenneth Raw has named a 23-man squad for the international friendly with 5-time world champions Brazil. The match comes up on Sunday, 13th October in Singapore. Among the players to battle Brazil are midfielder Alexander Iwobi, Peter Olayinka, Kenneth Omero, and Ikechukwu Ezenwa. And that's all from here on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Many thanks for watching, and bye for now.